am so glad to have you here. As you are getting logged on and hopping in, I just want to greet you, welcome you, tell you that it's going to be another incredible session. You guys, this is the Mindful Entrepreneur Part 2. So another wonderful session put on by Sarah National, which does these, sort of business building sessions each and every week. So today we're going to be talking about topics like your journey to increase profits, diving deeper into relationships, how to increase self-awareness. Our guest speaker today is Pat Alva-Kraker, who was just phenomenal last week. We got into so many different topics last week. She had a really excellent part 1. Now, part 2 is still going to pertain to you, even if you missed last week. I know a lot of you are familiar faces week after week, so you probably did catch that one. But even if you didn't, today's is still going to be incredibly valuable. Once you start to hear her, you'll be like, I think I want to see part 1. If that does happen, don't forget it's on Sarah's YouTube channel. So let me tell you a little bit about our speaker today and just refresh your memories, since it's been a week since we've been together, about who she is, what she brings to the table, and what she does. She is a serial entrepreneur, an international speaker, a trainer, an author, a human design for business expert. And I'm telling you, my husband and I have done the human design. It's fascinating. We did it on our daughter. It's changed the way that we parent. And so I'm learning now from Pat, not just how this works in a personal sense, but also how it works in the work world. It's truly fascinating. I think it's one of the up and coming things, in terms of continuing to stay on top of the best modalities for succeeding at work. She is author of one of 3 #1 best-selling books. She has written on so many different topics. She's been recognized by Women of Color, Leadership Texas, and the Hispanic Women's Network of Texas for her passion in developing female leaders. She happens to live in Fort Worth, which is not too far from where I live. I know many of our folks are here in Texas, but many are watching from across the country as well. All right, sit down, get comfy, get your feet grounded, and Pat, I will let you take it away.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Orla. Welcome to part 2 of Mindful Entrepreneur. So sit back. I want you to have an open mind, an open heart, take lots of notes, and interact with me. Interact with me through the chat, because this is your moment to really tap into what it is to be a mindful leader and ask me questions, because I am yours for your growth, personal growth as an entrepreneur. So, what I'd like, if you can enter your information, where you're from, what you do in the chat, that would be fantastic. And I'm going to set up my presentation while you do that. For those who are here for part 1, I'd like for you to share with me what was your aha from our last session together. Please enter that in the chat and share that with us. What was your aha from the last session? With that, let's go down to a review of part 1. Our review of part 1 was very juicy. I presented so much information on how to be a mindful leader. So a mindful leader, you will find out, is about being fully present and being able to be self-aware of yourself, self-aware of the other person that you're speaking, that you're having an interaction with, so that the win-win scenarios of what's right in front of you becomes really impactful, because you're aware of what the person in front of you needs, and you're able to create some amazing solutions when you are collaborating with an employee, a vendor, a client, etc. So we talked about grounding and how important it is to combine mind, body, and soul, so that when you present yourself as a mindful leader, you're coming from a fully connected self versus just coming from your head, right? So mind, body, and soul connection. And we're going to also be talking about the 5 modes of listening and mindful listening, and how to slow down. We're going to cultivate self-awareness. So let's go ahead and jump down into the review. So again, mindful leadership is to be fully present and self-aware of yourself and of the others as well, right? So you're focusing on what's being said, not being said, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, the expressions on people's faces, so that again, you can create a win-win response. We're going to go through a grounding exercise before we go into part 2. And in mindfulness, how does that show up for you in your life? How does what are mindfulness behaviors, right? It's one was is living your core values, and it's really understanding your core values and living your core values and having core values also in your business, because that is how you align, how you move forward in your business, how you hire people, who you do business with, what clients you take on, is that they should align with your core values. It's about being fully present and not being distracted, being aware of what you're feeling, being aware of how what's going on around you, using all your senses, and having self-compassion for yourself and for others. We also talked about how you experience life, and we experience life through our five senses. And we went through an exercise on what it is to connect with the five senses. And hopefully you were in tune to your five senses and you were actually sat back for a moment and gave thought to what is my strongest sense, so that you know how to use that sense anytime you interact with people, because they can tell you a lot about what's happening in your environment. Like for me, my sense is hearing, and so I can tell through people's voices what's going on, whether they're stressed, whether they're happy, whether they're worried, sad. I can hear it in their voice, and that's a pretty powerful tool as a coach and consultant. We also talked about different ways you become fully present, not only through your five senses, but focusing on one thing at a time, not multitasking. That's really an old school philosophy, because we really don't, or we aren't productive if we're not focusing on the one thing at hand. Again, maintaining eye contact with the people that you're working with, deep breathing and breathing from your belly versus from the top of your chest, which is very shallow. And then the importance of being able to slow down. And we're going to dig deep into slow down. What are the benefits? Well, first of all, you're a better decision maker, because when you're fully present and you're aware of what's happening with yourself and with the other person that you're talking to, or maybe a group of people, and you're able to read the audience, then you're able to make better decisions because you're aware of what's happening in the room. You're also more creative, because not only when you're breathing in and you're bringing in all mind, body, and soul into your space, and you're only doing one thing, it increases your level of productivity and your level of creativity. Being a mindful leader, we incorporate, I talked about how it's not only about being a mindful leader, but it's living in a way which you're mindful and you have a sense of mindfulness in everything that you do, because it's just not a mindful leader in the business, it's a mindful leader in the community, in your family, among your friends. It's a lifestyle that you embrace of being a mindful leader. And I mean, at the end of the day, I totally believe that it comes down to relationships. Everything in our life comes down to relationships. And when you're mindful and you're a mindful leader, your relationships are deeper, they're more meaningful, they're closer. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. Is we want deeper, closer relationships, because that's what makes the world go round. And when you're mindful, you're going to make money. You're going to make money because you're going to have those connections with your vendors, with your clients, with your VAs, with your employees, and that level of productivity increases within your team. I mean, it affects your bottom line more than you realize. And then we talked about a tool called Human Design for Business, which Jenny just shared with you. And it is your self-awareness map, if you will. You want to learn a little bit more about yourself and what makes you tick? Take this human design assessment, and I'll give you the link at the end. And then some of you who were here for part one, I gave you some soul work, and that soul work was about aligning your core values and then understanding how your life and your work is connected to your core values. And if it's not, what can you do to change that? Because you should be living from that space. Okay, so let's do the grounding exercise. So for those who are doing this for the very first time, I just want you to put down your pencil. I want you to sit back in your chair. Your spine is straight. You're feeling the back of your chair. Your feet are touching the floor and your hands are on your lap. And we're going to take a belly breath. I want you to practice that with me. You're breathing from your belly. So if you were to put your hands in your belly and you took a deep breath, you could feel your hands move out with your belly. So take a deep breath with me and then slowly release it through your mouth. Take another deep breath for me, and you can close your eyes while we're doing this exercise. Take that deep breath. Feel your belly expand and then blow out as slowly as you can. And one more deep belly breath. Feel your belly expand and breathe out slowly as you can. Rest your hands on your lap, close your eyes. I want you to focus on the bottom of your feet. Focus on the bottom of your feet and imagine these gorgeous tree roots going down to the center of the earth, way down to the center and wrapping themselves around a beautiful gem. And as you take your next breath, you feel the golden light from Mother Earth coming up your heels, your ankles, your legs, your hips, coming up your chest, going down your arms, your wrist, your hands, feeling that golden light going down your back, going up to your neck, relaxing your jaw. The light goes up, relax your eyes, and take that light to the center of your head and have it shoot out like a fountain. And in that release goes whatever's not working for you right now. You're releasing any excess energy and it's going down back to Mother Earth. Picture that one more time, the energy coming up from the center of your head, and you're releasing that which is not working for you, which is no longer working for you today, and any additional energy that may be caught up in your body, and it's going back down to Mother Earth. And now, with that, bring yourself back to your chair. Feel the bottom of your chair, the back of your chair. Wiggle your toes, wiggle the fingers in your hands. And now you're ready to operate and function from a mind, body, and soul perspective. So we did this. We took a couple of minutes to do this. And one of the things that I shared last week is that you can do this right before you get on an important call, before you get on a meeting, before you have a decision to make, so that you bring all of you in alignment. And when you start practicing this on a daily basis, and I would recommend that you do this at least first thing in the morning, is that you ground yourself. And then you get used to grounding yourself. And when things feel, when you're fidgety, when you feel scattered, that you just say, oh, I need to ground myself. Or you're going into an important meeting and you're saying, I'm going to ground myself before I take this phone call. And it can take up to 2 breaths, and you can get used to that to where you can ground yourself all the way down, like we just did, within 2 breaths. That's one of your tools in your toolkit, is to be able to do that. So today we're going to talk about the 4 modes of listening. So let me ask you this question. Have you ever been in conversation and you could tell that the person that you were talking to wasn't paying attention? If you've ever had that experience, enter a 1 in the chat right now, where you're having a conversation and you can tell like that person is just not there, right? Have you had that experience? Key in a 1, because most of us have. Or maybe you were in a conversation and you were going, mm-hmm, uh-huh. And what you were really doing was landing the space shuttle. You were not even there. When you were going through the motions of, yeah, letting the person know that yeah, I'm listening, when you really weren't there. You were successfully landing the space shuttle, or you were solving world hunger. So it becomes obvious when when people are not paying attention to us, and when and people can tell when we're not paying attention to them. So out of all the leadership skills, listening is one of the most important, and it's the one that is most neglected. So if there's one skill of the skills of a leadership that you can hone in on, it would be that of listening, because that's where agreements are made. That's where creative solutions come into play when you are totally listening to the person that's in front of you or the group that's in front of you, because it's through the listening that we come up with creative solutions and we understand what's going on with the person that's right in front of us. So it's important, nowadays where, people are talking about the great resignation and quiet quitting. It's because employers are not listening. We as people want to be seen and we want to be heard. And so listening is a gift that we can give to others by being fully present and, doing active listening. So there, in reality, I'd like to cover four different modes of listening. And I can tell you right now that some of you are in distracted listening. You may be listening to me, but you're looking at your phone, and I can see you right now that you're doing that. Put your phone down. I want you to be here now. So distracted listening is you're thinking of what you're going to say to the person. You're thinking of how those words, impacted you, like, God, she didn't have to say it that way, like, oh my God, my feelings are hurt, wow, wow, that was, man, she's really angry at me. We're just like, we're not fully present because we're thinking about the impact and we're thinking about what we're going to say. And most of us operate in distracted mode, unfortunately. But now that you're aware, you're going to start paying attention as to what mode of listening you're bringing to the table. So that's really important. Awareness is everything. The other one is listening for facts. So many of you here are listening for facts. You're learners. You take, you'd like to take notes. You like to go back and read your notes. So you're listening to me for the content that I'm sharing with you for the next 45 minutes. So that's important because that anytime you're learning something new, you're going to be in that mode of listening is I'm listening for the facts, or you're problem solving. You bring you into a group and we say, hey guys, we have a problem here. Let's all come together and see how we're going to solve it. You're listening for facts of what the situation is. Then we have empathic listening, and we're listening for feelings. What is being really said in the voice? Is there a quiver? Are they about to cry? Do you hear the sadness? Do you hear the elation and the happiness in their voice? Because they are so excited. They just won the $1 million what? Lottery, right? Or they've got their biggest customer ever, and they're excited about it. It comes out in their voice, right? The voice says a lot. And it's for us to sit back and be with that person with what they're experiencing. And then there's listening for curiosity and openness. As entrepreneurs, it's really important that we're curious about our business, that we're curious about what we're learning, we're curious about new opportunities, we're curious about what the vendors are bringing to us, we're curious about the customers and their problems. We're curious. It's important to be curious in your business, and there's a way in which you listen for curiosity. So those are the four modes of listening that you now can tap into before you have a conversation, before you go into a meeting, so you can tell yourself, okay, I'm going to have I'm going, like, I'm at a conference right now, which is why my background is what it is. So I'm going into that conference listening for facts. I want to learn something new today from the keynote speaker. So I'm going in there, listening for facts and taking notes and writing down whatever nuggets of information. So we operate in these four, and we go in and out of these four modes of listening. So I want you to just be aware of going forward. Like tomorrow, ask yourself, okay, what mode of listening do I have to be in for my next meeting? And just be conscious of how important it is to listen. So I have a formula. I want to share this with you, right? Look at this. We need to start listening to our customers and look at the solutions: phone, tabs, spyware, tracking them, everything except getting in front of the client and customer and listening to them. Is that crazy? But we do this, right? we do this. We look for other ways to get information of what's happening with our clients, except for picking up the phone and having a conversation. That's our biggest tool is picking up one-on-one and listening. So yes. So this is the form, this one tool, this formula that I want to leave with you today is how to be a mindful listener. So I love it's associated with the word here, right? So H is for halt. Whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing and just pay full attention to the person or the persons in front of you. Secondly, is enjoy a deep breath. I talked about being fully present and taking that deep breath brings you fully present. And that's where you want to be, is to be fully present. And then ask yourself the questions. Am I really hearing what's being said? And if am I making assumptions? Am I judging what's being said versus just listening? And if we don't understand, is asking for clarification instead of making those assumptions. And bring the openness and curiosity to the conversation because you never know what you're going to learn. So always be willing to ask question and ask for clarity, especially with that, with when you're right there with them at that moment. And then being able to reflect, right? Okay, so what I'm hearing, Jenny, is that you just landed your big client and you're so excited that you're now going to have to grow your team in order to accommodate the new capacity of what's just come in your way. And be able to say, I hear you because this is what I heard. And if you got it right, then great. And if you got it wrong, then they'll say, you know, no, no, what I really meant was, and then you've got to ask for that feedback in order to be able to move forward. That's so important, right? HEAR. Take a picture of it. Stop what you're doing. Take that breath. Ask questions for clarity, and then reflect what you feel, what you think you heard. So, one of the things about being a mindful leader is the ability to slow down and how important it is for us to be able to slow down. So, one of my mentors said, you know that you make money when you rest? And I'm like, what? I make money when I rest? Yeah, you make money when you rest, when you slow down. Because that when we slow down is when we get the creative answers. We get the answers to the problems that we're working through, and slowing down is key. So I want you to go with me through these symptoms, right? Do you find yourself just too busy to be still? So with my clients, we go through a grounding exercise every time I meet with my clients. I teach them this is the way you start your day. It's part of your morning routine. And sometimes I get the answer like, Pat, I don't have time to meditate. And I'm like, you 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 have to make time to meditate. You can't afford not to. So it's making the time to slow down by saying, I'm going to take those 2, 3 breaths. They take less than a minute to do. And if you feel like you can't stop and make that stillness, that means that you are rushing, you're pushing, you're moving too fast to be able to enjoy what stillness will bring into your day. So I know that some of you had some amazing successes in the last 2 weeks. You close a client, you hire somebody new, just some wonderful things happened to you in the last 2 weeks. You made a presentation. And at the end of the day, you might, at the end of the presentation, you say, yeah, good presentation. Check the box. Okay, so what else do I need to do now? Do you find yourself doing that? Is that you'll celebrate, but only for seconds before you say, okay, what's next on my list? Right? So we don't slow down. When was the last time you had a conversation with your best friend? We talked about that life is all about relationships. So when was the last time that you connected with someone? If you connected with your best friend, your neighbor, someone that you love with, I want to see a chat in the box right now. I want to see that you're doing that. I want to see that you had that time to do that because it means a lot. All right. I know in the last 2 weeks I talked about celebrating something, but did somebody cancel a meeting on you? Did somebody, or maybe even you canceled it? And instead of just saying, I think I'm going to take this time to just go out and have a cup of coffee outside my patio. Or maybe the meeting that got canceled was just before lunch, and you say, you know what? I'm going to go out for lunch this time. Instead of, well, now I have this hour. What else can I, how can I fill it? Who can I call? How can I move the needle forward? Is taking that time to have that space of doing nothing, of just doing nothing. And then how many of us, just go through our day? You wake up, go through the day, go to sleep, next day do it all over again, and we don't take a moment to really reflect on what happened. We're just on that hamster wheel, right? So I love this quote from John Dewey. We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on the experience. It's being able to slow down and reflect on what just happened. Reflect on that fantastic conversation that you had with a client. Reflect on that conversation that you had with your children, with your grandchildren. Reflect on that creative project you just finished. Reflect. So, how many of you saw yourself in what I just shared with you of being on that hamster wheel? If you did, if you saw yourself enter it too and say, yeah, I'm not enjoying the journey. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had a conversation with my best friend. This is where you are able to say, you know what? It's time for me. I am doing everything in a hurry, and I'm just pushing, and I'm not really slowing down and not enjoying the journey. So how do you do it? Right? Just like, Pat, how do I slow down? Tell me. I don't know how to do it because all I know how to do is go from 0 to 90 in 2 seconds, and I just don't know how to throttle back. Well, just even start your day slower. Just start your day 15 minutes earlier, where you're not hurrying to get the kids off, the grandkids off. You're not hurrying to get to work, right? Just mindfully manage your time and your energy, because that a mindful leader manages time and energy. So that's the two most important assets that you have that you never get back, is asking yourself, do I really need to do this task? Does this task really move the needle in my business? And if it's not, don't spend your time doing that. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, instead of doing something that's not really moving the needle, I'm just going to really just take a moment and just reflect on what happened yesterday. Slowing down. Let me tell you, not all tasks are created equal. So if you were to slow down, you would do the three most important things first. Three most important things first in your day. And then you evaluate the others for level of importance, level of urgency. But learning to prioritize your time by asking yourself, what are the three most important things that I need to do today? And if I get those done today, I will be happy. I will experience satisfaction. I will be delighted to have had those three tasks done. Give yourself silence. What does that mean? When you're doing your most productive work, turn your phone off. Don't have any browsers on. Maybe sometimes we just need no music. We just need silence, and just enjoy that silence. Our higher self, universe, God, Buddha, whoever that is for you, they're always talking to us and conveying answers to questions we've asked. And when we're not silent, we don't hear what's being said. We don't hear how we're being guided because we've got too much noise going on. Add white space to your home. Well, that means declutter. Is your office cluttered? Do you have a huge stack of papers and folders? Do you have a stack of clothes that you have to take to the cleaners? Do you have a stack of magazines that you're saying, oh, I'm going to get to those. I'm going to get to those, because those take energy, right? So sometimes when you want to get out of the house quickly, and you're like, okay, where did I leave my keys? Well, I know they're here somewhere on my desk. Or where's that folder? And we're looking for things because there's too much clutter in our space. So when you create that white space in your desk, put things away on your desk, get rid of things that are cluttering your trunk, that are in your car. Create white space in your home. You'll see how much time it will save you because you're not going through everything to get to one specific thing that you need. Say no more often. No is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. People will always come and ask you for help to do what's the three most important things that are on their list, right? So it's important to be able to say no, and in a nice way, right? Like Jenny, I would love to help you on your project, but right now I have a deadline to get a project out by tomorrow, and so I need really all my energy and time on doing this. But check with me again because I want to support you in what you do. It's just the timing isn't right. That's a gentle way of saying no. It can be a nice way of saying no. So Warren Buffett and the Oprahs of the world, they say no more often than they say yes. So I would love for you to adopt that habit, saying no more than saying yes. Right? That's how you slow yourself down. That's how you add fewer things onto your plate, right? And practice gratitude. Just be grateful. Just be grateful that you have the time to sit here. That grateful you have your computer. Grateful that if you're connecting with your phone. Just be grateful that you had a nice lunch before you got here. You're drinking your favorite beverage. Be grateful that the sun is out today. Just be grateful just for three things. That changes your energy just like that. So right now, write three things that you're grateful for. Three things. They can be easy things. What are you grateful for? Three things. Write them down right now. You can even share them with us in the chat. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? And spend time with the people you love, right? Because it's all about relationships. So one way to slow down is that, hey, you know what, Jenny, why don't you and I just go have a cup of coffee today? And let's just talk about whatever, right? Let's just talk about whatever and just spend those little moments like that with family, with friends, because at the end of the day, it comes down to relationships. So that's important. So a mindful leader is self aware. There's a sense, it all comes down to self awareness. Self awareness of your emotions is really important. Self awareness of how you're feeling physically, self awareness of what's going on in your head. It's important to really be aware of what's happening within you. And the emotions are an important part of that. So it's taking the time to reflect on what's happening. Somebody can say something to you just so innocently, and it triggers something in you that sets you off just like that. It sets you off into anger or sadness or, whatever emotion. And they didn't say it with any kind of malice, but something with your past got triggered with something that they said. And so what's important is to understand your emotional self-awareness so that when that happens, you can say, wow, Raul just made that comment and it just really upset me. And I know he didn't say it on purpose, but what is connected to that? Where's that coming from? Right. And being able to ask yourself that, because the better you self-regulate, the more mindful you're going to be, right? Is to understand what are those things that trigger you that maybe right now you're not aware that you're getting triggered by certain things, certain emotions, certain smells, certain colors, certain fabrics. You never know what can be a trigger for you unless you become aware of the changes in your emotion and how they might change just like that. Self-care is so important. Is not only slowing down, but really how you're taking care of yourself from a mind, body, and soul perspective. We have to start from within. Our energy level, our time, how we take care of yourself, how we honor ourselves. Do we eat well, drink enough water? Do we exercise? Are we reading? Are we growing? Are we sleeping? All of that self-care makes a difference in how we show up every day. So taking a look at how are you practicing self-care? Maybe it's before you even go inside the house and the kids are going to be wild and crazy and everybody's going to be asking you questions, wanting your attention. Is you say, you know what, I might take 5 minutes before I get out of the car. And I'm just going to sit here for 5 minutes and relax. And then I'll go into the house. Maybe it's buying yourself those flowers, bringing in color. Self-care is so important. You don't want self-care to all of a sudden be brought to you because all of a sudden you're sick, you need an operation, you haven't been taking care of yourself and you fall and you don't want that to happen. I ended up with breast cancer, 27 years ago because my self-care practices were not there. Everybody was on the list, on the top of the list except for me. And all of a sudden I was given a wake-up call. I'm like, hey, something's got to change. I have to take care of myself first, right? Savor. Savor, today when you have a cup of coffee or you brush your teeth, I want you to be in that moment of savoring that activity, washing the dishes, cooking. If you like to cook, be in that moment of cooking and smelling all the herbs and the spices. Be in there. When you take a bite, savor that bite. Chew it slowly. How does it feel? How does the texture feel in your mouth? When you fix yourself a cup of coffee, just listening to the sound of the spoon, mixing the milk and the sugar, and then taking that first sip and savoring that first sip. That is mindful living. And then that pause, right? Taking that pause to take a deep breath. Where can you make pauses? Where can you bring in pauses in your day? Where can you schedule those pauses in your day? Like I said, if somebody cancels a meeting or you cancel a meeting, hey, oh man, I was given a pause. How can I take in that pause here and just be mindful of what's happened in my day that's well and just not really push because our business is not about pushing. It's about being in flow. And when you're in flow, you're connected with what you value. You're open to what's happening in your day and you're responding to it, not reacting to it, right? Because everybody has a rhythm in which they're meant to grow their business. And you have to be aware of what your way of doing that is, right? Human design is part of that. So I talked about reflection and how taking the time to be able to reflect on your day. And this is one exercise that you can do daily to see if you're practicing being a mindful leader or living your life in a mindful way. Is buy a journal that's your favorite color or your favorite pen, and ask yourself, how did I practice mindfulness today? How was I a mindful leader today? And check in. And what went well? What didn't go so well? And what will I do differently? If you do this consistently, every day you will become a better version of yourself. Imagine that. Taking 5 minutes to answer, how was I a mindful leader? What went well? What didn't go so well? What will I do differently? And just sitting back and reflecting, right? Because it's not from the experience, it's reflecting from the experience that you really take in the lesson. So one of the prayers that I say every day is, let my lessons be easy. Let my lessons be easy and let me learn from them. So the way that I do that is by asking myself these questions on a daily basis, right? So today, what went well in your day today? I'd love to hear from you in the chat. What went well today for you? Let's celebrate you. What went well? What did you learn? So it's important for that level of reflection to take place. Yes, journaling. So these are the tools that we've learned in the past two sessions. You learned how to go through a grounding exercise. We did that today, and how you can take that with you. We did a core value exercise and we talked about how important it is to live your life according to your values and have core values in your business that people know, because that's how you hire people. That's how you do business with people. That's how you pick your vendors, is because they're aligned with your values and having those alignment questions. We had a five senses meditation and how to connect with your five senses and learning which is the strongest. You just learned today the formula HEAR, how to be a more mindful listener. And as a leader, it comes down really a lot to listening because that's where we get and recognize what's happening with the people that we love, that we want to work with. It's a very strong skill. And how to slow down, right? Just take one idea of everything that we learned today of how to slow down and how one technique of self-awareness. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's just being savoring tonight when you're having dinner. It's all of those are important. And then I offered a tool for free. It's a $500 value of how to get to know yourself better. You want to know your rhythm of how to grow your business? Take the human design assessment. You want to know how you're meant to grow, how you're meant to make decisions? Take the human design assessment. You want to know whether you're in and out of alignment so that you know how to throttle and say, hey, time out. I think I made a bad decision here and pivot. Take the human design assessment. This assessment is the key to you. It is your user's guide to you. It is your way of learning what makes you tick. This is available to you as a gift for being here. And you can take a picture of the screen here and go into to that particular site and fill out your information. You'll get a report. You and I will have a discussion on your specific design, if you will, and your life will change. My customers' lives changes when they learn more about themselves, especially how to make decisions. Because so many times we're afraid we're going to make the wrong one, so we don't make it. Or we make it and we can't sleep at night and we worry about it and we said, should I have said yes to that or no to that? What if that went away? What if the stress of making a decision went away? It's possible. That's what we teach. So with that, my dear Jenny, let's open it up for conversation. I want to hear what people have been keying in, what they've been sharing and saying. It's open time for questions.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Pat, for everything. And I did type up that link and posted it in the chat if anybody was trying to get that down. So you guys can, what I would recommend would be like to copy and then paste that into a separate browser so that you don't, we don't want to lose you, but we want you to get the link. So I would do that and then minimize it to be here. And you guys, again, if you have any questions, feel free to send them to me directly if you're more shy, or post them in the group chat and I will catch them. And we'll start off with this, Pat. How has human design changed your life?
Right. Yeah. Let me tell you, uh, I have learned a better way of making my decisions. When I was in corporate for so many years, corporate taught me to make my decisions from here. They said, okay, Pat, I'm going to give you, I need for you to solve this problem. I want you to look at the data. I want you to give me case studies. I want you to tell me, which way we should go. And there's more to making decisions than numbers, right? For me, it was dropping in and asking myself, okay, should I go forward with this project? And then just listening to the mm-hmm or no, and then sleeping on it. That's my decision-making process. So now when people try to, rush me to make decisions, I'll say, you know what, Raul, I don't make my decisions just like that. What I do is I sit with my decisions and I sleep on it. And if you're willing to give me a day, I'll make a decision and I'll be very confident about my decision. If you want me to make a decision right now, the answer is no. And so people then start honoring the way I make decisions. And so I'm very confident in the way I make decisions. I also learned that for me, uh, when I know that I'm on track and I'm totally aligned, there's a level of satisfaction that I experience on a daily basis. And I want more and more of that. So when I know that what my core values are and how I make my decisions, I make the right decisions more and more often, and I experience more satisfaction. Now, am I perfect? No. Do I make some bad decisions sometimes? And I second guess myself, or I don't pay attention to my inner voice. And you know how it shows up? In frustration. And so now when I'm going through my day and I start to experience frustration, I'm like, time out. Something's quite not right here. So I have learned what my signposts are to regulating what I'm where I'm aligned and where I'm not aligned, which is very, very important for someone to know that. And I've also learned how to grow my business to the beat of my own drum. That has been really important because so many times I've listened to other gurus and I've followed their formula. If you use this formula, you're going to make six figures in 90 days and blah, blah, blah. And there I am following the formula. And I'm like, it didn't work. And then I find out, now that I know human design is like, oh no, there's a way for me to grow my business. There's a certain client, there's a certain way that I'm supposed to market myself. My profit centers may be different than they are for Jack. And I have learned so much about how to grow my business in a way that's full of ease and grace. It's been life changing. My clients, they have to have a human design assessment done, or I won't coach them because it is that life changing for
And you think
sure.
it's that accurate too.
And it's that accurate. It is absolutely that accurate. Yeah.
Really, really interesting. I was thinking about when you were talking about empathetic listening, which to remind everybody that was the listening for feelings.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if modern communication has sort of messed with that a little bit, the way that we text everything. And I know now I do a lot of voice memos because I want people to hear exactly what I'm saying. But what's your take on that? Do you think that's taken out that element?
Yes, we started to rely on technology so much that sixth element of the hearing is not. Sometimes you can hear, the rudeness in a text or the elation, right? You can hear it, right? But there's so much in the voice because 90% of the communication is nonverbal. And so when we're having a conversation, we're also listening with our eyes. We're listening with scanning the body and, are you crossing your arms or are they grinning or do you hear, do you see the grimace? And it is so important the way that we listen. It's just not the hearing, but we can listen in different ways, right? um, and we're making assumptions, right? We're making assumptions on how things are being said by just reading text, and we're in a hurry to do it. That we're losing engagement with each other. We're losing engagement. Employers are losing engagement with employees. You may be losing engagement with your VA, even if the only way they want to do is text. There's something to be said by having a conversation, getting on Zoom, hearing the voice, and just really sharpening that axe when it comes to listening. Because you'll be more creative and you'll come up with better solutions than if you were not to really sharpen that skill set. It's really important.
Interesting. You were talking about, basically everybody taking some time to slow down and to have that sort of, I mean, white space in the home, even just like white space in your brain sort of thing. Is there a certain human design type that
Mhm.
finds that to be more challenging?
Well, the generators, right? We're doers, right? Your
Yeah.
type and my type. We just do, and so and it's also been how we've been trained. Like in corporate, you haven't been trained that you're competing for money. You're competing for position. You're competing for acknowledgement. You're competing for recognition. And so you have gone into this mode of, I have to outperform everybody else on the team. And you bring that into your life as an entrepreneur, and that messes you up. I mean, that is not a good habit. I would, we need to change that level of recognition that we've carried on and have brought employees into, by feeling that they have to do more and more and more in order to be successful, and that's not really the case. Uh, less is more. Less is more. You make money when you rest because you're more creative. You spend time with yourself. So being able to slow down is so critical to your success. It really, really is. And giving
That
yourself a space. Yeah, even if you all you do is in your day 5 minutes before you normally do, it's one way of slowing down. So we shared so many habits today. Just take one. It's one of the mindful habits, and just practice it for 30 days. Don't overwhelm yourself with everything that I gave you today. I gave you a toolkit. Take one of the tools, practice it.
And I know there's people on here who are saying, but if I slow down, I won't make as much money. And all my life, I've achieved because I do, and I do because I achieve. Um, how do you get that type of personality to realize? Because it's almost scary. It almost feels like you're kind of like on a tightrope, and you have to keep running in order to not fall off. So you're thinking, wait, I can't stop. I'll fall off. So
Mhm.
take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, the sense of urgency and always doing, right, is like you say, in many of in our types, that's what we are born to. We're kind of wired that way. The the thing is the awareness, because you have to have the time and the energy to do things the way you want, the right way, the one. Many times we try to take shortcuts in order to get things done fast, right? So what I want to bring into awareness is, where's your energy level right now? You can only do so much during an 8-hour day, and we think that if we work 8 or 9 hours, that we're going to get more done. I can tell you that you are less productive when you start working more than 8 hours, and giving yourself the grace of, I know my productivity actually drops after working 8 hours, and no, if I want to do my best work, this is when I do my best work. It's between an 8 hour or 9 hour period of time, and say, this is the boundary I'm going to set for myself going forward, is that I'm not going to exhaust myself working 12 hours a day anymore. There's nothing that urgent that cannot wait to the next day. And the reason I say that is because if you look at your task list and you do the three most important things that move the needle, you're not thrashing. You're not thrashing. Not all tasks are created equal. So you do the three things that are most important in your business, and then you learn how to evaluate the others, right? Is maybe it's something you shouldn't even be doing, and you're wasting your time doing it. Maybe you think it's urgent, but it's really not. It's really being mindful of what you're in. Do I really have the energy to do that anymore? You have to manage your energy and your time, and you have to ask yourself the questions. All right, am I really experiencing at this point satisfaction in what I'm doing? No. Well, it's because I'm tired. I'm tired. So one of common complaints that I get is, I'm tired of being tired. And I'm like, okay, tell me about your day. Tell me how you spend your day. What do give me a layout of your calendar, and let me tell you where I can get you hours where you don't feel like you're wearing yourself out and you're pushing. So the question to ask yourself is, am I pushing today? Why am I pushing? Because your days are not supposed to be that way. So it's that self-awareness. I'm tired. Am I pushing? Am I operating in anger? Or am I really satisfied and I'm going with the flow? and just being aware of, okay, let me take a deep breath here. My regular day should not be one which I should be pushing. What's been going on? It's that those questions that you have to ask yourself. Do you have the energy to do it? Is it
Yeah.
important? Is it okay if I work? Is the sky gonna fall if it gets done tomorrow? Most of the time the answer is no.
So I'll wrap up really quickly with this. What do you say that the person who is in more of an hourly position where, let's say, they do hair? So if they take on extra clients, they earn more money. They maybe have a lawn care business. If they take on more clients, then that's more lawns, that's more money. What do you say to people like that who are like, no, I really actually do earn more money when I work 12-hour days?
It is important. Money is important, right? Because it pays the bills and it pays for the college education, et cetera. There's a certain lifestyle that you want. But at the end of the day, is that really the main reason why you get into business? I can tell you that the main reason that you get into business should not be money. It should be, what are you contributing to other people? How are you experiencing a level of satisfaction? How is your skill set being used to make a difference versus always being driven by the money? Because at some point that no longer works. And if you start already here, with that mindset is, I'm in this because I want to make a difference. And yeah, it's good to have money, but money is not going to be the driver in the business. It just can't. Once you grow, as you mature in your business, you realize that the money then no longer brings in a level of satisfaction. And you have to ask yourself, am I really satisfied because I made $200 more today? Could I have used that time with my daughter? Could I have gone to bed earlier? Just really, I tell my clients, money cannot be your driver in your business. You got into it for the wrong reason.
That is a great way to finish. Pat, thank you so much. Thank you for grounding us before we started. I also want to give a shout out to somebody who sent in the grateful list. Number one, they're saying no 100 degrees today. Woohoo, I'm with you. Number two, this is my favorite gratitude thing of all time. They said, I'm quick at thinking of new passwords. That is a true skill, my friend. And then number three, I keep pushing during these difficult times. So shout out to the person who anonymously sent that
Oh, yeah.
in. And thank you, Pat, for just reminding us to practice gratitude. Thank you so much.
And I am grateful for this opportunity to share and make a difference.
So here's the deal, you guys. She did give that generous offer regarding the human design for business. I have done it and I'm telling you, I think it's really cool. So the link is in the chat. Then for more information on Sarah's programs, there are so many complimentary programs within this group alone. It will keep you busy. So don't forget that that's available in the chat as well, the link there. And then also you can check out part one of the series in addition to replays of all the other sessions every week on Sarah's YouTube channel. All right, have a beautiful week, Pat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.